Having a country devoid of insecurity is a big win, especially for a country like ours, Nigeria. It is also a big source of threats and depravity of peace to always have to put up with the worry of insecurity being one of the biggest challenges Nigeria is facing today. Just some days back, there was an alarming scenario that was further heightened with records from the United Nations Regional Center for Peace and Disarmament in Africa, ORIC, that out of 500 million illegal weapons circulating in West Africa, 350 million, which represents 70%, were domiciled in Nigeria. And we know that means a whole lot. This led to the Senate crying out that Nigeria is presently under siege from murderous non-state actors whose activities are threatening the nation's continued existence. Leaving Senator Uba Sani, the sponsor of the Firearms Amendment Bill, with no choice than to attest to the fact that the country needed to urgently address the worrisome situation. He lamented the proliferation of illegal arms and ammunition in the country, with little or no control by relevant authorities, had profound implications for collective survival of not just Nigerians, but also for Nigeria as a country. Seeing that the main aim of the proposed amendment to the Firearms Act was to curtail the proliferation of illegal arms and bring the existing law in line with global best practices as confirmed by the lawmaker. It has become a tug of war, especially for the people of Kaduna, as citizens can no longer live their normal lives without thinking about killings and kidnapping going on as if it's never going to end. Just 2 days ago, amidst other kidnapping and killing reports, 8 students were kidnapped by armed bandits from a private academic institution, Greenfield University in Kaduna, where 3 of them have been killed by gunshots already. The Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, addressing the issue, condemned the killing, where he went on to say the armed bandits represent the worst of humankind and must be fought at all costs. On the other hand, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari also described the recurring incident of kidnappings and killings in Kaduna State as barbaric terror attacks. Just as same as citizens are feeling insecure right now, kidnapping for ransom has escalated, especially in Kaduna, but its authorities are on the policy against negotiating with the kidnappers. Having to rescue its citizens as to how these can provide a lasting solution to this existing problem without a ransom is something to actually look into. Also, when and how helpful the implementation of the existing law against insecurity will be accomplished is what an average Nigerian wants to hear. On the program Perspectives, we'll really be looking at what this holds for Nigerians, especially for the people of Kaduna, how soon it will be stopped by its government, and likely questions running through your mind now, even as mine. My name is Modupe Ola Beauty. You're welcome on the show. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Let's get answers and enlightenment to those questions in your heart. Good morning, the city of Kaduna.
Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. This morning on the program Perspectives, we'll be looking at the security challenges that the country is facing today. And just before we commenced with the program, you had a piece there on security. It was written by Mudbe Ola Beauty here. And it was to look at the security situation that we have all over the place. From the north, east, south, west, we're talking security. And I'd just like to, bring to you how the situation has led to, comments coming from all over. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, while talking with traditional rulers, had talked about leadership failure on matters of security. And Niger State Governor Sani Bello had called on the federal government to look into the situation of the security challenges that the state is facing. And a senator from Shiroro Munya constituency has also drawn the attention of government that the challenges Shiroro and Munya have been taken over and other communities there by Boko Haram, and so much so that they've hoisted their flag 2 hours away from the federal capital city, Abuja. Now, That is a serious one. And again, we hear Governor Zulum calling on federal government to seek help elsewhere, that it is going beyond, what we can handle. And so help must come from wherever we can. And Adeyemi Smart, had also, come with his own take on security. Matter of fact, he was seen shedding tears, on how bad the situation has come to be. That's how serious it is with us. And again, who knows next? We know of what is happening in Kaduna State, where we are located. Of course, students, of some high institutions, and where they are, with the abductors now. And of course, ransom is about, what it is. And the government, state government, has made its position clear that it cannot be intimidated by these kidnappers, asking for 800 million naira as it is. And of course, to tell us and to show that the main business, 5 students of that institution have been killed. I am particularly, in pains now because one of the girls, 300 levels, is just a next door neighbor, and you can feel the pains of what the parents are going through. So it is a challenge, and the questions being asked is government, really on top of the game when it comes to matters of security that the country is going through now. But I'm sure that it will be on the affirmative to say that government is really on top of the game. Because again, the Secretary of State, United States of America, had a visit with the president, and that's Anthony Blinken, right? And of course, it is about how to come in and help with the security situation. My colleague is here with me this morning, Jacqueline Adibija, and one of the questions that threw to her, off the cuff, was that would it just be okay to, ask, other countries of the world to come into security matters and help out? Matter of fact, that's the way, help out. Well, let's hear you on this.
Good morning, Tony, and thank you for having me on your program. Well, the short answer to that would be no.
From you?
Yes. We shouldn't ask for help, for foreign help, because, okay, let's just say that as Nigerians, they say those who fail to learn from history are not only bound to repeat it, but to repeat it with even more blunders. And so far, Nigerians, we have proved to be very, very poor students of history. Because even before we found ourselves in this mess, we would have taken a look at what was happening in other places, other climes, and taken examples from them. But today here we are, and we want to go out there and ask for help. And so the question I would ask for those who are seeking for this is, who are the hands, major hands, behind what we or where we find ourselves today? A lot of people will say she has come again with her conspiracy theories. But it is, forget Nigeria and ask yourself how the war in places like Yemen and places like Syria and places like Afghanistan started. How did they start? I'm not going to bore you with the details, but you can go back and go and check. Then you will realize that it was all a culmination, scripted one, by the way, for destabilization to happen in these places for reasons best known to the way you love to say, the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob. Proxy wars taking place in other places other than, their own soil. You might want to ask, what is the interest then in Nigeria? I might not, just pardon me as I jump from place to place. Nigeria has a great lot that we don't know about. And for every flashpoint towing in Africa, check it. There is something going on in that place. Largely, for me, looking at it, I feel like in Africa, we might be a sleeping giant right now, but Nigeria still holds a very, very important role.
And so can the world afford the destabilization of Nigeria?
Exactly. It's not even the world alone. Well, let's start with Africa, because personally I believe that there is a new scramble for Africa. There's this terminology, I think it comes out of this Illuminati thing where they say creating order out of chaos. First you create the chaos, and then you bring order out of that. You begin to look at the investments like the Chinese and the German. There's a scramble for Africa that is going on, and we don't know, because by the time they come with their loans and everything, they sit down and then chaos comes. They are going to say, let's help in bringing order, and that's where a restructuring is going to happen, and not the type that any one of us wants. Take a look at what happened to Idris Deby, the slain.
Sure.
Yes. You ask yourself, what happened to Idris Deby? Did he really die by the hands of rebels or bandits, or was it, in quote, friendly fire? Let's go.
Why was he at the war front in the first place?
Why shouldn't he? We are the ones who have talked about our president not being proactive enough. Now we have a man who is leading. He's not the first president or the first commander or the first leader who has wanted to really be a leader. A lot of people say he was stupid. Someone with his brains should have been behind, leading the troops from behind. But there's no law that says that he couldn't have been on that war front. How was he to know? If the pictures we saw of Idris Deby's corpse is anything to go by, that man was shot from behind. And so you have to ask yourself, where did that bullet come from? It's unfortunate that Africans, because all this is happening by our own hands. If you remember what happened in Iraq, are you telling me that they did not know that by taking out Saddam Hussein, we were going to see the atrocities? When I hear, the Western world spouting inanities about, the massive human rights violations that have taken place in places like Iraq, in Afghanistan, I just smile to myself, because are you telling me that you did not know? Saddam Hussein might have been a dictator, but his people weren't complaining. They weren't exactly complaining at that time. Saddam Hussein had a way of ensuring that elements like this were put in their place. Before his demise, we did not know of a destabilized area in that place. There were Christians in Iraq who were they were living their lives. And then they take out Saddam Hussein, and today we have the Kurds, the Yazidis, everything is in disarray. Come back to Libya. The same thing happened again. Muammar Gaddafi might have been a dictator, but it was a man who had a ready package for any Libyan as soon as you were married. This is the man who succeeded in desalinating water in the middle of the desert where that country is. He provided his people with every good thing. This was a man who had started asking questions like, why is the dollar our universal exchange currency?
But Jacqueline, again, in all of this, Nigeria is not posing a threat, to say the Western world.
It would be a mistake for us to think that the Western world did not know that when they took out Muammar Gaddafi, that we were going to have a destabilization that was going to affect Nigeria. You see, our problem is we underestimate and we do not learn from history. Like I said, what happened in Yemen? What happened in Syria? In fact, what happened in Lebanon? There were other countries fighting wars on another man's soil. They took their war from carrying out their war on their own property, on their own soil. They took it to other people's soil and destroyed those countries. So forgive me if I don't think, because I feel like all our solutions are in our hands. What is so difficult about some of the steps that we can take to get ourselves back from the brink?
Yes, and this is where my next question will come. Jacqueline, we're talking about bandits. We're talking about them moving into thick forest that sometimes the radar cannot, have their location. And we're talking about a war that is not, the war that we see. This war is about technology, it's about information. And what is happening is now we don't have the technology, we don't have the kind of information we want, and so we're asking people with this information, this technology, to come to our aid.
The same people who refused to sell weapons to Jonathan, even before this issue got to this point, the same people who made it difficult for him to access weapons. And by the way, the same people who said by the time they bring the Tucano jets that we paid for, that the installations and some things, I really do not know the details right now. I forget. It's not that I read up on it. Our technicians would not be with them. Go and read it up.
Yes.
They said our technicians will not be there with money that I gave you to buy weapons.
And again, still talking about this, we had a 67-70 war, and we knew what it did, to this country. Thank God for the administration then on the R's that were put in there, reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction that was put in. And so we are still a country today. But again, with what is happening here, it's not just one part of the country, it's all over, the country. Exactly. And that we're not getting any help. And one can be bold to say that this is, what some people will call, or some people have described as leadership failure. And so, how do we treat this? What do we do? We have in other climes, like Americans will say that they will never negotiate with, terrorists and all of that. But again, a governor of the state had taken a cue from that to say he would never negotiate. And we're putting all the blames on him, heaping the blames on him. Jacqueline, where's the way out is what we're saying. And you just rightly said it, that we have the answers in our hands.
Yes, we do.
Where's the way out?
One of the first things that we should have done like yesterday or day before yesterday is to unite. Even in the mess in which we find ourselves, people are only concerned about, I told you so. Did I not tell you this? Gloating over, okay, so you were right in the first place. Don't negotiate. But you see, even the history of negotiation in Kaduna State did not start with Nasir El-Rufai. It didn't start with him. It started with Yakowa. Namadi came, I beg your pardon, Ramalan Yero came and did not do anything about it, because of course at that time the problem wasn't as bad as this. And so this is open for people to go and research and ask. It started from the time of late Sir Patrick Yakowa as our governor. He wanted peace, and he said, what would it take? What would it take? And by the way, another thing I believe is that right now we have gone beyond those people whose cows got killed or got rustled or whatever. We've gone beyond that. What we have right now goes way, way beyond that. In Zamfara State, another thing, like I said, pardon my jumping up and down, because my mind is racing. Whenever I think about Nigeria's issue, my mind races. Some time ago, 2020 makes it look like, there's a gap. I think it's about 2 years now. I think it was in 2019, but it seems just like last year. When some officials of Zamfara State called, raised alarm and said, look, Chinese people bribed them with huge amounts of money. And these people, for love of country, did not take that money and turn those Chinese people over to authorities. Where are those Chinese people? There are some things to swift justice for perpetrators of crimes like this. Even our own people, our own nationals. there was one time there was a man caught. I saw the video. Where is that man? Things like this, you ensure that you carry the press along, even when we go into apathy and, you know, news everywhere. So the tendency to run after the most recent is there for the average journalist. Call people back and put attention on it. Let us have shooting ranges back. Let us have, you know, swift and precise justice. Let people see that justice was done, and some of these things will quickly die down. Those Chinese people are probably in their country, if they're not back in Zamfara, doing what they were doing in the first place.
So where exactly do we?
So now you see the problem. See, there are some things that happen in the United States, and you don't see quiet trials. Most recent, George Floyd. They could have decided to make that trial a very quiet one, but they didn't. They even people like us halfway across the world followed the proceedings. We heard the arguments from both the prosecutors. They've not had their day in court, and then the case will die. These are one of the reasons why we are here, and that's why I'm saying the solutions actually lie with us. Why can't we see the face of the people who have been sponsoring, even if it is a faction of the insecurity we're experiencing? Why can we not see them, shame them, let there be swift and terrible justice for these people?
Let me bring you back home, and back home with the security matters that we're talking about, and that's about what is happening in Kaduna State. Kaduna State, from all over, from the north, east, west, of Kaduna State, it's a bad picture of security that we're getting. But again, what comes to mind, the Afaka, our institution there. Then, of course, with Greenfield University students and their teachers, and doctoral, killed in all of these. Nowhere is safe, so to say. And yes, government has taken its own position on how to deal with these issues. But the threats coming from these kidnappers or abductors saying that they would be doing this, on daily basis until somebody somewhere responds, on their demands. Now, again, just like that, we'll have about 20-something of children killed without anyone coming out. And of course, we're not even sure that we'll ever find or get these people, to bring them to book. Just looking at it, a mother, your sister, auntie, and everything, put together. For you, how would you look at this issue?
I cannot even begin to tell you. Just thinking about it makes my knees weak. I start to have palpitations just imagining if I was one of those women or men who don't have their children in their custody right now. It is, the Yorubas have a saying. They said, they say, Omoku osonju omo sonulo. That literally meaning a child is better to have a child dead than to say the child is missing, because you as a parent, you become like a zombie, like a living dead. You don't know where your mind races to different places. And so I don't even know if I can eloquently express my thoughts and how I feel about the parents who have fallen victim to this matter. But I also think that it would be very unfair to think that, the government is happy about what is happening. Because if not for anything, if as a politician or as a journalist, I want to continue in my work, this is not helping the governor's profile or journey, his political journey, if you would. So why would he even want a thing like this to happen? Because a lot of people are saying, oh, he knows about it, or they must have their hand in it. And so the question is, why would you want to do this to yourself? Because it's akin to shooting yourself in the foot. So I cannot rationalize it when people say, oh, this is him at work. Why is it only Kaduna? I've heard so much. But like I keep falling back to, I keep saying, in fact, even people who have returned safely from kidnappers' dens, they will tell you that these people look hungry, even they themselves. So where are those millions going? You have to ask yourself these questions. Is it that we already have a proxy war going on in our nation, where you are hearing the voice of Jacob, but it's actually the hand of Esau at work? Or is it the other way around? I don't know. You have to ask yourselves, and it is only when we are united. I keep falling back to the issue of unity. It is only when we are united that we can ask ourselves questions. At this point, I expect that the major opposition in Kaduna State, the PDP, go with our traditional religious. Let us have meetings. If the governor is not calling for it, go to him and ask him that, is it not time for you to call us? Let's know what is happening. Because Toyin Alabi, there's also a school of thought that says that, oh, because I was cheated out, or because I feel that I was cheated out of something, I will ensure that your reign is so terrible, that your time as GM is so bad. Destroy your record, for instance, as GM in Invicta, and so I will ensure that I continue to sabotage you in very inobtrusive ways. There's also that school of thought. But it is only when we are united that we will understand our common enemy. Right now, we all are fighting the enemy, but we are deciding to do it as small units. It has never worked. And I don't think that Nigeria is about to change that narrative. You have to be united to fight your common enemy. And when you find out the common enemy, you might find that you are even related to your common enemy by blood or by some other affiliation. You must be ready to let all those affiliations go and the word is not right to use the word sacrifice, and give up. These are the things that we need to do. These are the solutions that we have. But my fingers aren't crossed on it.
Yes, okay, let's get us one or two drops on this conversation. Hear you on numbers 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Toyin and Mrs. Jackie.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Mr. Fresh.
Quickly.
Yes, I really appreciate the way Jackie analyzed the whole thing. However, here is my own contribution. Honestly, the issue of insecurity in Kaduna State and all over the country is a thing of concern for every true citizen. But I want to call on the leaders. Let them be sincere in the fight against insecurity. Just as Jackie said, you cannot fight insecurity from a distance. You need to call the people together. Let us reason things together, whether they are opposition, or they are in your party, or they are your tribe, religion, or not. This is one common enemy, insecurity. Let us come together and see how we will fight this. Not using the media, not using the any other means that we can, but let us be positive in the fight and sincere. So I want to call on the government. Whatever they are doing, it's rather unfortunate for a president to say that they are calling on other countries to come and help us. We have been denied that opportunity sometimes ago. Now you want to say that, yeah, this thing is real. Let us now call for help while you are there. So I want to say that let us be sincere in everything we are doing. Let us not be political.
Okay, Mr. Fresh, thank you. All right, I'll take another one. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tony Alaru.
Good morning.
I want to appreciate all that you have
Your name, please. Your name, please.
My name is Yemi from Goningo.
Yemi, okay.
So I want to put it to you that as governor of Benue State said in the recent past, just recently, the federal government knows about what is going on as regards insecurity in this country. I believe it so much. There is a hidden agenda best known to them. There is no way you can come in agreement with Satan. You understand? Look at the killings. Look at the bloodshed. Look at the kidnapping. Like I used to tell you, if you can remember that I was a victim, I knew what I went through, what I passed through. You see, I want to give a piece of advice. So all our either the staffs at our schools, the principal, the vice chancellor, and so on and so forth, that they should put in security either seminar or lecture or as a subject in the school. Because in Israel, according to what I learned, that at the age of 6, you know how to protect yourself. They should put it as a subject, even probably right from kindergarten. Let every one of us be ready and be trained. You understand?
Okay, Yemi. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll get you on that. I'll just, cap it up with this last call. Hello, good morning. Take this last one. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Buba Umar.
Buba Umar. Quick.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir, the reason why we have not gotten it right in Kaduna State is that the leadership of the day is not making it inclusive, all inclusive. Now, if you say you will consider only figureheads inclusive into the system, I think there are some missing links. Now, if you look at sometimes, Arwa have been coming on this program, he say intelligence gathering is only for military or personnel. Now, those local ones are more of... Hello?
Yes, but you, Buba.
Yeah, intelligence gatherings are amidst the people that they see. But they don't go, unlike the government, subsequent government we see. So that's how we find ourselves today, even if there are happenings, no any comment, no any way forward, but we just acknowledge it. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, Jackie, come back to you. Mr. Fresh, that we should all come and face our common enemy. We calling for, subjects in schools on burden on security, so that, and Buba saying the government should be inclusive in all it does. Your last line here, too.
Well, my last line would be, let us not be that country that has failed to learn from history. Let us not be those people or that people who would allow for their land to become like Yemen and the rest of them, where new weapons are tested out and countries, bigger powers, flex their muscles on your land. The executive arm of government, the legislative arm, the judicial arm have all failed, and so have the people of Nigeria. If we can start from there, and the people start to unite and refuse to be divided, refuse to see this problem like them versus us, we just might be on the way to recovery. Hopefully, we will not have to seek for foreign help. But if we do, I just hope that history proves me, or posterity proves me wrong, that this isn't another scramble for this great continent.
And that will just be the size of it on the program Perspectives this morning, looking at the security situation in the country. Jacqueline Adibija has been my guest, a colleague too. Jackie, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And I'd like to thank you too, Gilead, for connecting us with the people. Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. And for that opening thoughts too, Modupe, Ola Beauty, thank you for that piece. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. Good morning.